The New Tech Times, a video magazine for the electronic age. In this edition, Star Wars technology creates new ammunition to fight those chronic headaches. Also, micros help blind diabetics gain some independence. Later, Darth Vader voices greet you at Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport and live a realistic fantasy at NASA's Space Camp. All this and more in this edition of the New Tech Times.
The New Tech Times is brought to you through a grant from Wausau Insurance Companies. Times change. Wausau works. And by the collective voice of the consumer electronics industry. CEG, the Consumer Electronics Group, Electronic Industries Association.
Hello, I'm Mort Krim. Welcome to this edition of the New Tech Times. This week's program presents a diverse look at technology in some interesting settings. We'll travel to Huntsville for a look at some young people planning for the future with NASA. We'll join Danny Goodman for another look at home video. And finally, spend some time exploring the ways technology is keeping us healthy. Let's begin in Houston, where people who suffer chronic headaches are using Star Wars technology to ease their pain. Here's our report produced by Darcy Carroll.
$15 million Americans suffer from chronic headaches. That's nearly 1 out of every 10 people.
They feel your teeth like they're absolutely on fire. And then my right eye will turn just blood red, and the top of your head just feels like it's absolutely going to explode.
Cluster headaches are one form of misery for many chronically afflicted sufferers. John Ward gets them. To ease John's pain, doctors misdiagnosed a sinus problem, pulled 3 teeth, and even told him he had a brain tumor. Now, thanks to new technology at a Houston headache clinic, John knows he suffers from cluster headaches, a condition that strikes mostly men and one that's particularly difficult to diagnose. Doctors like Houston's Neenan Matthews have begun using Star Wars technology and unconventional methods to treat chronic headache patients.
Most of the headache patients are treated outside with either narcotics or pain medications of the non-narcotic kind or tranquilizers like Valium. We are trying to get away from that.
The new approach uses a different kind of preventative, less toxic medication, biofeedback, and other techniques to cope with stress. Lee Burson struggled with headaches every day for 15 years. To dull her pain, she lived her life hooked on tranquilizers and painkillers.
As the years went by, and of course, things that would aggravate it on, of course, it would be a lot worse at times, and I was in and out of the hospital a lot, but of course, all I was taking then was narcotics and nerve pills and things like that, which didn't help.
Lee's doctor sent her to the clinic where John Ward got help and where she began a new life, essentially free of pain. The first step, a computerized test to analyze her psychological and physiological condition. The clinic has replaced humans with computers to administer psychological tests. Some clinic physicians believe computers give the patient a greater sense of privacy, and so the test responses are more honest. Dr. Matthews says the results are highly detailed and more accurate.
More chronic the headache, more neuroticism you see in patients. So it's very important for us to identify those, because in dealing with them, in treating them, we got to take those into consideration. For example, if the person is depressed, we may have to take care of that by prescribing medications or talking to the patient or doing some sort of counseling and supportive help.
Of course, doctors must first rule out serious physiological diseases that could be the culprit. They do so by those seemingly never-ending diagnostic tests. The visual evoked response helps to detect organic causes for headaches, like brain tumors. They measure the electrical responses of the brain to visual stimuli. The CAT scan photographs cross-sections of the inside of the brain and is also used to rule out physiological disorders. However, most headaches are caused by stress, and through a test called thermography, doctors now have visual evidence to diagnose psychosomatically caused headaches. For the first time, the patient can actually see that their pain is not all in their head, so to speak, that there is actually a physiological change going on while you have your headache. And of course, this helps the doctor determine the kind of headache you have and therefore how to treat it. For example, in John Ward's case of the cluster headache, the pattern appears differently than that of Lee Burson's vascular tension headache.
Normally, a painful area becomes cooler. And for example, in a cluster headache patient, at the time of the headache, you see one side of the head totally cool compared to the other side.
In many cases, a major cause of headaches is excessive blood flow to certain areas of the brain. This is where another technological advance comes into play. Biofeedback is used in the cure of headaches.
Okay. What you hear right now is tension. But you didn't know you were that tense, did you?
No.
Okay. What you want to do is to get that sound to stop.
The goal of biofeedback is to teach patients control of the nervous system. As patients learn to slow their pulse and warm their hands, excess blood is redirected from the brain to their extremities. While listening to relaxing tapes, patients learn to modify body tensions by controlling the tones of the biofeedback machine.
Utilizing visual imagery and the natural abilities of your mind.
Flo Clay has been doing biofeedback for several months and has been extremely successful. For Lee Burson, biofeedback has perhaps been the most useful tool in her fight against headaches.
I don't have to put the machine on. I can just lay down and just kind of talk my body into relaxing, and then, within maybe 5 minutes, I can get up, and that's the way I can control my headaches too.
Biofeedback doesn't come as easily to everyone as it did to Lee. It's difficult for many chronic headache sufferers to learn to relax, so thousands of people are still living with daily pain. As in any area of medicine, many advances are yet to be made, but Dr. Matthews does envision a society free of pain in our future.
Physical problems can be frightening when they're out of our control. In Houston, where technology and Dr. Matthews teamed up to diagnose and treat headache maladies, the ability to control pain has meant an improved quality of life for patients such as John Ward and Lee Burson. But there are other areas of medicine where technology is giving patients more control over medical problems. Those who suffer from diabetes, for instance, have long been dependent upon daily tests to track their blood sugar levels. For blind diabetics, that dependence has meant relying upon friends or family, or even paying strangers to help with the life-sustaining tests. But now technology is helping such patients gain new independence and control over their lives. Here's Tom Tomaszewski's report.
Because of my blindness from diabetes, I've cherished life more and taken advantage of it more.
Diabetes robbed Judy Ayler's sight 18 years ago, but not her vision. She jogs daily with her husband, Robert Corrigan. She's seen her way clear to earn her master's and doctorate degrees. She climbed Mount Rainier. She lectures about the psychosocial aspects of blindness, challenges all, yet none of them were as tough to face as her plunge into an all-day night.
When I first lost my vision, I had excessive fears as to how long I had to live. If diabetes was bad enough to cause blindness, what other organs of my body was it affecting? All I had to increase my life expectancy was exercise.
Careful monitoring of diabetes requires daily blood testing, and until now, daily monitoring materials require the ability to compare test results with some chart, in short, to be able to see.
I am ready.
There are some 33,000 blind diabetics, like Judy, nationwide, who were more than ready for this portable talking blood testing device. Biodynamics has been supplying the basics of testing for sighted diabetics for years. The market for products for blind diabetics is not exactly overwhelming. But Biodynamics developed this anyway.
Top management was committed to that project, knowing right at the beginning that profits are not to be made with this product. But we felt that we have a social obligation to a population that was good to us so far.
The Reflocheck S isn't technologically overwhelming, but rather a common-sense collaboration of accepted technologies. Let's run through this once with Judy. A voice synthesis device leads the diabetic through the procedure.
I am ready.
They prick their finger and carefully urge a drop of blood down the bridge to the awaiting chemically treated strip. A photo-detecting cell makes sure everything's in place.
Push the start button. 60 seconds.
The machine counts out 60 seconds, allowing the chemically treated plastic strip to react with the blood.
Wipe strip now.
The machine then instructs the diabetic to wipe the strip and thread that strip into an opening to be read and announced.
So to be able to use the system gives me that confidence that I know where my sugar is, and therefore I feel better physically and emotionally.
Hey, Robert, I think we have two different kinds of attic vents, one being a...
Blindness forced Judy to redraw her life's blueprint. The independent strength that graces her grates on the dependence her disability can cause. It's more than a point of personal preference that makes this independence-granting machine important. You see, careful monitoring of a diabetic's blood sugar level could add years to their lives. Trusting that to someone as a part-time job, or trusting their interpretation of such an important test, seems foolhardy at best.
I'm going to live longer because, like the sighted diabetics, I can keep my blood sugar within normal limits. And that's an incredible feeling of independence and self-confidence.
Whether preparing lectures or articles, Judy functions as a sighted person might. The deference to her disability is plain common sense. A recorder is her notepad. The foot pedal control frees her hands to type. Some 40% of the 10 to 12 million diabetics in the country have some vision impairment. Nearly 5,000 of them, like Judy, go blind every year. Independence is an important fiber in their lifeline to hope. The Reflocheck S is one strand in that precious fiber, leading to a longer and more fulfilling life.
Result is 9.4 milligrams per deciliter.
If you have story ideas, suggestions, or comments about the New Tech Times, get in touch with us electronically through The Source. Log on with Public 125 Direct. On CompuServe, use Go NTT. Or contact us directly through the New Tech Times electronic bulletin board by dialing 608-263-2784. Here's what some of our viewers have written about our series. Bravo! I am most pleased to find this electronic addition to your media. I've watched most of the PBS shows, and yours is the most interesting to me. Signed, Michael Farmer, Millersville, Maryland. And wrote Chris Kennedy of El Segundo, California. How about telling us about the mobile data terminals used by the police in many cities, including this one? And from Jim Raymond of Fairbanks, Alaska. I enjoy watching the New Tech Times, but you can improve the show by skipping the reports on frivolous and degenerate aspects of modern society, such as $5,000 car stereos.
Judy Ayler's story is heartwarming when we see the difference a machine like the Reflocheck can make in an independent person's life. It's also nice to know that the Reflocheck is affordable for those who need it. The system sells for just under $800 and can be purchased through Medicare to reduce its cost or fully underwrite its purchase. The speech synthesis technology that helps Judy each day is helping all of us in other ways as well. Chips that help machines talk are showing up in our telephones, our cars, and even public places such as Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport. Here's Gary Probst's report.
Chances are that if you travel, you've been through the Atlanta airport. When it comes to air traffic, it's second only to Chicago's O'Hare. Millions of people stream through these terminals every year. Atlanta's one of America's high-tech cities, so when people ride the airport's train, they're greeted with something other than a soft Georgia drawl.
The next stop is Concourse A. The color-coded maps and signs in this vehicle match the station colors. Please move to the center of the vehicle and away from the doors.
That Darth Vader-style voice is from a speech synthesis device designed by Westinghouse. The robotic sound is used to keep the people moving.
We found that by varying the voice, we could get a particular voice that sounded more effective and got people's attention. And that's why we ended up with the robotic voice on board the train. People joke about it, they laugh about it, but they pay attention to it, and they remember and they understand what's going on.
Please hold on. This vehicle is approaching the next stop.
We tried the same synthesizer with a human voice, and people ignored it the same as they do with other humans. So we ended up with the synthesizer and the robotic voice for those reasons.
A speech synthesis machine is located in the back of every car that allows the voice to respond specifically to violators of its pet peeve, blocking the doors.
You are being delayed because someone has interfered with the door closing. When the doors close, we will depart. Please hold on.
Because all 6 trains run in the same tunnel, you stop one train, very quickly you've stopped all of the trains. So we experimented with several different messages and different ways to impress upon people not to hold the doors open. And we came up with what we feel is a very good, effective message that gets people's attention, is not intimidating, but because of the peer pressure, if you hold the doors, the train calls your attention to the fact that somebody's holding the doors.
In spite of its scruff demeanor, most people enjoy the computer voice.
I think it's really neat. It just shows how much computers are coming into the world nowadays.
Please hold on. Please move to the center of the vehicle and away from the doors.
I don't know about you, but the next time I'm in Atlanta's airport, I'll stay clear of the doors on that train. The space-age sounds in Atlanta are a novel way to keep the airport's transportation network on the move. But a few hundred miles from Darth Vader's commands in neighboring Alabama, America's young people can experience the real sounds of space. Here's our report.
7, 6, we have main engine start.
Main engine start.
3, 2, 1. Solid motor ignition and liftoff. Liftoff.
Shell has cleared the tower.
We have cleared the tower.
This is a realistic fantasy come true for one young man. He's learning through imitation about the job of flight director for the space shuttle. He's at a new kind of summer camp, a high-tech proving grounds for teenagers who want to learn more about the world of rockets and astronauts. Space Camp is part of this museum in Huntsville, Alabama. It's where tourists can learn about the history of space exploration and young people can learn more about NASA. Many of them consider further training and turn the simulation into reality.
All console positions report go. Challenger on course and on time. Velocity 7,000 feet per second. Altitude 54
I think
NASA
is a good organization that should have as much money as it should need, because other than that and exploring the ocean, the only real frontiers we have left, there's just a lot more that can be learned in space and done in space.
Challenger, Houston, we're planning on sending you a weather message at Ascension. Is the teleprinter configured?
Space Camp has flight simulators of the shuttle and Houston's mission control. There's a sequence from liftoff to landing through a videotaped journey of the Challenger.
Landing gear armed. Gear down.
Simulators are great. They really give you the feel of what it would really be like to be out in space.
This make-believe trip on the shuttle is no joyride. The mock-up goes through sudden jolts similar to turbulence while entering the atmosphere. And emergencies like fires are thrown into the dialogue to give crew members a chance to test their reactions.
Fires are all out.
Becoming an astronaut is an exciting dream for most of the young people at this camp, but they realize very few of them will have the chance to fly.
We're careful about enticing them to go into the astronaut corps. And we tell them that it's still a very limited number, and that's just one part of the program. We need people that are qualified in the computer field, in the communications, in understanding the behavior of materials and so forth in space. So we try to guide them to a wide range of work activities.
Challenging.
If teenagers like these become interested in space technology, it will help lead them into advanced science classes. That in turn helps personnel recruiters at NASA and the high-tech contractors who build rockets and shuttles for Uncle Sam.
We also want to acquaint them with this, what we believe to be a tremendous opportunity in the year 2000 and beyond, when this nation is going to be flying a space station and we're going to be doing exciting things in space. I think the numbers are still going to be limited, actually, in space. However, the supporting crews that we will need to care and feed that station from here on Earth are probably going to be greater.
Roger, copy that. Outstanding.
During this summer, more than 2,000 teenagers experienced the challenge of those with the right stuff. And now there's even an adult space camp for those among us who would like to be passengers with the astronauts of the future.
Challenger Houston looking good on final. Winds are calm.
3,000 feet.
Landing gear arm. View down. We have full stop.
Taking even a simulated trip with the shuttle is an exciting way to learn about careers in our aerospace industry. But there's no substitute, of course, for the real thing. We've sent monkeys and scientists into orbit. Now there's talk of a teacher going along. Well, how about your New Tech Times host? I'd even shoot videotape for you. Are you listening, NASA? Putting those exciting moments on tape is what more of us are doing these days, thanks to new home video units. Danny Goodman's back this week with a look at some more of the home video packages available to consumers. Danny?
Last week we looked at portable video recording in both the VHS and Beta formats. Now this week we're going to see what camera makers Polaroid and Kodak are doing to help confuse the home videotape issue even more. It's an innovation called 8mm video. The name comes from the notion that it replaces 8mm and Super 8 movie cameras in film. This is Polaroid's new 8mm video system. The main component is a one-piece camcorder. It's really not much bigger than some of the fully featured cameras we looked at last week. Each 8mm cassette holds enough tape to record about 90 minutes. And a rechargeable battery inside the camcorder holds enough juice for about 45 minutes of recording. When you get home, you drop the entire unit into this cradle and play your tapes back directly on your television set. An option for the cradle is a tuner timer unit, so you can record programs off the air onto tape in the camcorder. Kodak's 8mm home video system operates in much the same way and is called Kodavision. It's important to note that the Polaroid and Kodak systems are truly intended as home movie types of machines, so don't expect to see a lot of pre-recorded tapes for sale or rent in the 8mm format. To help you sort out all this home or portable video confusion, here are my recommendations. If you're just now shopping for your first home or portable video recorder, I strongly recommend you buy a fully featured two-piece portable unit. Even if you don't buy the camera just yet, you can always add it later. And whether you choose Beta or VHS formats should depend on what systems your friends or family members have, since you'll probably want to swap tapes with them. A good two-piece system costs about $900 and up. Quality color cameras in about the same price range. But a dealer will put a package together for you and it'll bring your total cost down. If you already own a VHS home recorder, then a JVC, Zenith, or similar video movie machine will be a nice addition, especially since you can edit your material onto longer tapes with your main VCR. Add one of the new small portable color television sets on the market, and you could even watch the tapes right on the spot where you're recording. The video movie machine costs about $1,500. The only drawback, in my opinion, is that it doesn't have automatic focus. I wish it did. If you own a home Beta deck, surprisingly, I'd recommend the video movie again. Even though it's an incompatible format, you'll still be able to make longer Beta format tapes edited from your video movie machine. You can always play your video movie cassettes straight through to the TV anyway, so the transfer capability is a good addition. I find the current capabilities of the Beta movie systems, which cost about $1,500, to be too confining. Finally, if watching pre-recorded movies or concerts isn't all that important to you, but longer recording time is, then the Polaroid or Kodak 8mm video systems, costing about $2,000, might be worth taking a look at. They're a little bit expensive for home videos, however, so you'll want to weigh very carefully some of the other choices we've looked at over the last 2 weeks before making your final selection.
Making home video choices can be easy, as Danny points out, if you look before you leap. So put together a game plan before heading to your home video dealer. Doing your research first can ensure that the system you take home meets your needs. From home video to speech synthesis with space camping in between, this week's program has explored more of the many ways technology is changing our lives. We'll be back next week to continue our electronic journey. For the New Tech Times staff, I'm Mort Krim. Thanks for watching.
The New Tech Times has been brought to you through a grant from Wausau Insurance Companies. Times change. Wausau works. And by the collective voice of the consumer electronics industry, the CEG, the Consumer Electronics Group, Electronic Industries Association.